What's up, guys? It's your boy, High Life Chronicles, and today, whoo boy, do I got a story for you. Now, some of you might be a little bit confused. Like, hey, wait a second, Matt. This is your first video on the YouTube channel. Like, what are you doing? Like, this ain't a recurring occurrence. So, I've told this story to the homies many, many times, and they always have said, I'm a great ass storyteller. So, hey, I thought, why not share it to the internet and make a other bunch of people laugh? So, let's get right into the story. So, a little bit of background on this story. This story took place around right after COVID ended. So, this was about end of 2021. This was August 2021. It was the beginning of my sophomore year. Okay, let's get started with the story. So, I was with my best friend at the time. Oh boy, what are we going to call him? We gotta call him a name. I can't just put his name out there. Fuck, what am I gonna call this kid? Nelson. We're gonna call him Nelson. Okay, so he hits my phone up asking to hang. Now, he mentions one person that I've met before. We'll get to that, but one person I've never met before. I only knew one of the guys there because, we had made some absolutely foul concoctions in the Kroger store by my school. I think it was like body armor and like simply simply lemonade or some shit. It was some foul concoctions in freshman year. So I already knew this guy. We'll call this guy Carson. But there was also another girl there. This was my first time meeting her. We're gonna call her Brooklyn. She might show up in future stories, so that's why I'm calling her a name. So I actually didn't know that I was gonna smoke weed when I pulled up. Nelson never told me. Um, but, like, I pulled up to this random park by by our high school at the time. So yeah, there was the Brooklyn and, Carson, Nelson, and then these 3 other random guys pulled up that I had known in middle school, but I hadn't seen since middle school. They had gone to the other high school that I didn't go to, but their names don't matter. They're not really relevant in this story. So, we met in this local park, kind of close by our school, and then we walked over to this random ditch, like a few yards away from the park, and Carson pulled out this joint. Okay, listen, before this, I had never even seen weed. You got to remember, this was COVID. Nobody was smoking anything. Everybody was locked inside playing Fortnite, right? So nobody was smoking. So this was my first encounter to weed. He sparked it up, handed it to Nelson, then Brooklyn, then me. Now listen, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know how to inhale. And I remember the mouthpiece being disgustingly wet, dude. Probably from Nelson. If I'm being honest, it was probably from Nelson, guys. Anyway, that guy was kind of foul. Anyway, I quote unquote hit it a few times and then passed it on to the other kid next to me. Again, I quote unquote hit it because I didn't know how to inhale yet, right? Again, this was my first time smoking. No one told me how to inhale. So this is not a story about my first time getting high. That's going to be a story, next week. We're going to get to that story next week. This story is the first time I smoked. The first time I got high and the first time I smoked were completely different occasions. So, a few minutes go by and I felt relaxed, but I wasn't high. Like, again, like, I'm not going to tell you about the effects I was feeling because I wasn't really feeling anything. This is more about honestly how my dad reacted and not how high I was. Again, we're gonna get to that in a different video. All right. Anyway, back to the story. After Nelson cleared the joint, we went to King Supers. Now, if you don't live in my state, you probably don't know what King Supers is, but it's just a Kroger store. They just call it all a bunch of different things in different states. And Nelson had a mean case of the munchies. So he bought us all Oreos, which, trust me, we'll come back later, and ice cream. Now listen, you might be saying, what kind of homie buys all the homies munch? This kid was rich. Later this year, he got a fucking Camaro, like, and his parents paid for it. Like, this kid was rich. Are you gonna know? Anyway, We just sat and chilled, and the original plan was me staying at this kid Nelson's house, but so I called my dad asking to stay at this kid's house, and then later his mom said no. Okay, so I was in a little bit of a predicament. You see, it was already 10 p.m. at this point. My dad, he kind of falls asleep a little early. He was already asleep, and the door was locked. Sure, like I could just like wait outside. I could have waited outside, but yeah, this kid Nelson, bro, he made me go to my house, and we have a ring camera in front of our house. So my dad saw me on the ring camera, and then he saw me leave. Like I was like, bro, Nelson, like, why did you make me do this? And he was like, oh man, I'm not letting you sleep outside tonight. I was like, dog, we live in a white suburbia. Like, what do you mean? I can sleep outside, gang. But he didn't let me. And then when I tried the door was locked, and I told him, I was like, yeah, bro, the door's locked. Like, I can't go. And then, of course, my dad saw me on the ring camera and saw me on the side of the road with a pack of Oreos in my sweatshirt pocket. Because I still had the Oreos at this point. And oh my lord, my dad was pissed. I've never seen him that mad. He's not a big. Before this, I was kind of a goody two shoe. I mean, I shoplifted a few times, but I had never even done anything like this. So you can tell he was very mad. He's kind of strict. So yeah, long story short, I was grounded from literally everything for 4 months, and my room was trashed. But anyway, that's the first time I ever smoked weed. I hope y'all boys enjoy this video. This was a banger to make, and I'm gonna keep making more stories like this because this is really fun. Anyway, I hope y'all enjoy your day. Go roll up a joint, go hit that shit, or a blunt, or a bowl, or a cart, whatever you got in your hand. Take a hit of that. I'll see y'all next week. Peace out, gamers.